Oh, hi. And we are live. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Business Basics series. This is a class where you learn the basic expressions and vocabulary that you need for different areas of business and different professional areas where you, as just a normal worker, professional, might need to improve your vocabulary or be effective. In the last two classes, we've been dealing with culture and money, the relationship between how we talk or approach or handle money in different cultures. On Wednesday's class, we actually read an article that gave us some indication about how different cultures deal with money in different ways. So we're going to take that a step further today and actually do a little activity where you have to interact with people from different cultures in a financial way. More about that in just a minute. First, a quick introduction while we're waiting for people to come in. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, coming at you from Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. By the way, if you click on the link in the Verbling chat window, it'll take you right here to my profile page, where you can click follow on the left, and you'll get notified of my upcoming classes. Or you should. If you don't receive notifications, you have to tell me, because that means there's something wrong with it. But you should. On the right, you can book a class or a private tutoring session, and I will create a personalized learning plan to help get you to your goals. If you're interested, just send a message first so I can make sure that I have time in my schedule, and we'll talk about what your plans are. That's a little bit about me. Let's take a look at the material. If you were in the other classes last week, you probably have this link, but if you weren't, I'll give you the link right now, and that way you can have access to it after the class as well. Okay, so there it is in both the Verbling and Google chats. Okay, so before we'll do a little review, but before we do, let me just say hello and make sure all your microphones are working. So the first person I saw was Hussein. Welcome back, Hussein. Are you there?
Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much.
Excellent. By the way, I want to compliment you on a very nice kangaroo, Hussein. That is one of the nicest kangaroos I've seen in a long time, and thank you for bringing it. Sylvia, welcome back as well.
Hello, again.
Sylvia, is your last name Pie? Is that P-I-E? Or is that P-L-E?
Sorry?
What is your last name? Because in the chat window it looks like Pie.
No, it's long. It's Pleguezuelo.
Oh, okay. It's an abbreviation.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to class, Ahmed. How are you? Ahmed, are you there?
Hi, teacher.
There you are.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Okay. Nice to meet me. Wait, we've met before. Don't you remember? Ahmed, we've met before.
Yes, exactly. It is an honor for me. I met you before.
Wait a second, but you can't say nice to meet you if you've met me before. You have to say nice to see you. Because if you say nice to meet you, it means it's the first time we met. But it's not the first time.
Totally agree. Yes, for sure. Thanks for the advice.
So, Ahmed, nice to see you. And you say nice to see you too. There you go. Very good, very good. Welcome back, Christian, as well.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, yes, again.
And Giancarlo, welcome back.
Good morning, John. Thank you.
Good morning. And also Roberto. How are you, Roberto?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I couldn't be better, Roberto. That's how good I am. I'm so good I couldn't be better. Look at this, Roberto. This is money. Can you see all the pieces of money here? Look at all that money. Last Monday, we had a long conversation, but an interesting one, about what types of financing people choose. And it gave us an idea that different people chose different things in different countries. So this is just a quick review of where we were last week. And we basically just talked about it. On Wednesday, we moved forward here, and we read two a two-page article about money in different cultures. Now, we might want to review some of that. If you weren't here, you can get an update, but you can also read it on your own here on slide 6 and here on slide 7. Slide 6 is a little bit hard to read, I admit, but I shared my screen. It was a little bit easier. If you can't read it, I'll send you a PDF because I can't make this any bigger. But we're not going to reread it. We already read it once. We can review it, though. What we're going to do today is launch into a discussion and then an activity. So, and these vocabulary exercises you should do on your own after reading the article, and I'd be happy to correct them for you, or if you have any questions, if you're not sure about the answers. So we're going to start here. Oh, let me just ask a quick question. Who was here last Wednesday in the class? Was anyone here when we were doing the reading, the article? No? None of you?
Yes.
Really? Uh-oh.
Yes.
You were here?
I have been there, sir.
Ah, okay, great.
Yes.
Ahmed, can you do me a big favor? Call me John Eric. Not sir. It scares me if you call me sir. Just, or if John Eric's too difficult to say John. Say, hi, John.
Okay, John. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, John.
Okay. So tell me, Ahmed, what do you remember about the article? Do you remember how some of the cultures were different than others? Do you remember one or two examples from the article, just to give everyone else a little overview of what we talked about? Do you remember one or two things?
Yes. I remember, for example, there are some restrictions that came from the religion.
Right.
For the money transactions, like the Islamic culture that prohibited dealing with some banks because the interest and something like that. So, so the culture of the religion here reflected strongly in the transactions.
Yeah, that was something I didn't understand very well, because it said in the article, the one that you just mentioned, it said, let me see if I can go back here. I didn't really understand that part, because it said in Sharia law, here in paragraph 10, in Sharia law prohibits acceptance or payment of interest on loans. Is that true, by the way? Because that's...
Yes, exactly. Because the Islam religion has a very own point of view in this dealing with the banks, because they say the person has to share the profit and losses with the banks. And the banks, I think, refuse such point of view. The bank always give part or portion of the profit only, and the Islam say it is not proper.
Well, the Bible says that too, by the way. The Christian Bible says the same thing, but I guess no one remembers that part of the Christian Bible. It's called usury, the idea that you can't profit without something physical happening. Usury.
I think it is only for the Catholic group.
Well, yeah, maybe, but it's a sin, I think, if I remember right. Anyway, I find that interesting because the reason I'm asking is it true is because I don't understand how that affects companies that operate where that law is enforced, because there are banks, right? So because I'm saying, where is there Sharia law? Is it just where? Just in Iran, or is it all over the place? I really don't know. That was something I found really surprising. So we can talk about that if anyone has experience with it. Was there anything else besides religion that you remember?
Actually, also there are some countries or some nations that that's fair to deal with the mobile devices transactions, because they say it is not secured enough, who
Oh,
deal
right,
with
right.
outside devices.
That's right, that's right. So some cultures are sort of, we could say maybe resistant. Good word,
Yes,
resistant
yeah,
to to uh, to some forms of payment. So resistant forms of
yes.
payment. Okay, very good, very
like
good.
like like what happened in the past with PayPal.
With what?
There was a with PayPal system.
PayPal, right?
Uh,
PayPal?
yes,
What happened with PayPal?
I think in the last 5 years happened the problem for the security for the customers for this company
Maybe 5 years
the data.
ago. There was a problem a long time ago, but I don't think it
Uh,
was recent. Maybe it was. No, it could have been that recent because not since I've been on Verbling, because I use PayPal all the time. But there was definitely a problem where people's they got hacked. I think something like
mhm.
that. They got hacked. Um, so that's a good overview of two of the issues that came up in the article. Let's talk about that together now. I'm going to move forward here. So we're on slide 10. And we're going to start by just discussing some of the topics that Ahmed just brought up, actually. So, by the way, welcome to class Marcus and welcome to class Javier. Nice to see both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Are you there, Javier?
Thank you. Nice to see you again. Yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. So I'll tell you what, Marcus, do you think you could do a little reading for us? I'd like you to read the excerpt, the little text in the box on the top, because we're going to be talking about that. Could you read that for us, Marcus?
Okay. Is it appropriate to give money as a present? This is often a controversial topic, as doing so can be seen as impersonal and imaginative.
Almost.
Many
Unimaginative.
unimaginative.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Many people prefer to give a gift vouchers instead. In China, however, presents and close friends give children money in a head envelope to celebration on China's New Year.
Okay, good. Just one word I want you to repeat. Careful with the R. Say red. Red.
Red.
Good. Because I was hearing head, like in
I'm
right?
sorry, I am
Red
Brazilian.
envelope. Okay, very good, very good. I'm curious, what is it like in your cultures? We're all from different places. I can tell you, as an American, giving money is normal. I don't think there's anything. I think people do it all the time, and it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's just my experience. It doesn't seem strange. Um, you don't have to put it in a red envelope. What about your experiences? Can money be given as a gift? And if so, to whom would you give money and whom would you not give money to? What's your take on this? Roberto, you start us off.
Okay, okay, I think it's a problem of confidence. If you
Uh-huh.
have confidence with someone, you can give money as a present. But if you
Okay.
don't enough confidence, maybe it's better to buy a present.
When you say confidence, confidence in what exactly? I'm not sure if I understand the word confidence here. Confidence that...
like a family, like a friend, confidence. It's someone who with you have confidence with a family, with friends. But people who
Oh,
that's
you mean someone who's close to you.
yes.
Ah, okay, it's not confident, it's a close relation. That's
Oh,
what it
okay.
is. Close relation. Close. I understand what you're trying to say now, because it's like a confidant, a person who is close to you. Okay, okay. So if it's a close relation, now, Roberto, do you think it needs to be a family member, or could it also be like, imagine, for example, like if you go to, I don't know, who would you give money to that's not a member of the family? When is it appropriate to give money as a gift if they're not like a family member, if it's a friend or an acquaintance? Is it ever appropriate? Actually, let's get some other opinions too. So Roberto has given his about close relations. What do you think? Christian, what would you say?
No, I don't give, money for a present for my friend, but only for my daughter because she's 16, and I
Right.
think I'm sure it's a right present, because if you buy something for her, you are near the you are near you are near. I think I prefer, to give money to for example for my daughter, but for my friend, no, it's not good. It's very impersonal. It's good to take a present, to choose something in a shop. Something is good and is adapted is adapted of this person, of the house of this person, for example.
Not adapted of, but adapted to.
Adapted to. Yeah.
Right.
This is my point of view.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I'm just wondering, like, for example, at a wedding, for example, wouldn't people, maybe I'm wrong, I haven't gone to enough weddings, but wouldn't people sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's a family thing. Maybe it's really personal relations. Yeah. Maybe it's really, because I'm just thinking, like, I remember my brother's wedding. There was a lot of money floating around, more than gifts, but yeah, maybe that was more of from the family, something like that. Okay, very good. So, but we've heard from 2 Europeans. Let's hear from some non-Europeans. I'd like to know if it's different. So, for example, Hussein, what about in your culture? Is it appropriate to give money as a present?
No, it's not. It's not a
interesting.
present.
Okay, why is that?
They give money, but it's not very good. People prefer to buy a gold instead of money.
People would prefer what? Repeat, please.
To buy a gold.
Gold?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
As a present.
Where are you from again?
Turkey.
That's what I thought. Really? You give gold as a present? Oh my God, that's expensive.
Yeah.
What part of Turkey are you in?
I live in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, but it's a tradition in Turkey. In every wedding, they give gold, money, sometimes to the, I don't know how you call it, the woman.
To the bride?
Bride, yeah.
Right. So, in what form would you give gold? You mean like gold jewelry, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So that's interesting. Because I would say, like, I don't know if there's really a tradition where I come from about a particular type of thing that you give. It's interesting. And who else here is non-European? Let's see. And Ahmed, what about you? What about where you're from?
I'm from Egypt.
Would you say it's appropriate to give money as a present in Egypt?
Yes, for sure. It is a part of our culture here in Egypt.
Really?
Yes. It may be sometimes more precious than the gift or the present, because if you went to congratulate one of your friends that had give a purse, if you take over the baby in order to see it, you have to put in his or in her hand some amount of money as a congratulation to the baby.
Okay. So if you go to what we call a baby shower, I guess we have this expression, baby shower. A baby shower is usually before the baby's born. You know what? I'm really bad with this stuff because I don't go to these things. But I'm trying to think of the baby shower. I guess it's before the baby's born. I really don't know. I'm really bad for this because I've missed All my friends who had babies, I've missed all of this stuff because I'm a bad friend. But anyway, yes, there you would definitely give gifts and presents and things like that.
Also, in our feast here in Egypt, we have to give amounts for the keys in the feasts, and in Egypt we
Okay.
have two feasts. Yes, in order to facilitate to them to disperse and to spend this money to satisfy themselves
Huh.
or themselves.
And
Yes,
when
by
you say
buying
sorry, when you say feasts, what do you mean? Do you mean
feasts.
feast like food or feast, or do you mean fast like festival?
No feast which, that coming twice per year here in the Islamic countries after the holy month Ramadan,
Right?
and the second one after the pilgrimage, the Hajj
Right?
season as well.
And
So those two seasonal occasions here in the Islamic countries,
mhm.
that's called feast.
Okay. And what is the name of the feast after Ramadan? What's the name of it?
It is called Eid al-Fitr. It is a feast of Fitr because it's coming after the Ramadan that the whole people the whole Islamic people fast the whole month, the entire
Right?
month.
Right?
And after the 30 days in Ramadan, the people going to go back to their normal life to
Right?
take foods and drink anything during the day. Uh, so
Okay.
it called Eid al-Fitr.
Yeah. It's hard to say in English.
Mhm.
Eid al-Fitr. Is that right? Eid al-Fitr? Okay. I put a link there in Eid
I
al-Fitr.
drop it.
Fitr. I put a link there for Wikipedia as well. Okay, very good, very good. So we've got some surprisingly different responses to money, actually. I wouldn't have guessed that it was a normal thing in some places. Actually, I wouldn't have guessed in Egypt that would be a normal thing to do. And I wouldn't have guessed that gold was a traditional gift. What about in Mexico? I forgot Giancarlo. You're not European. I wanted to get some non-Europeans in here. What about in Mexico?
Mexico, talking about money. Well, first, I like to talk about religion and money, John.
Yeah?
I like to be brief. And a friend of mine told me some days ago that he was invited by a religious person, and they were there in church. And after the ceremony, after all that kind of stuff, the, some people were from the staff. They asked for money. They asked for money, and they passed an
Uh-huh.
envelope in which people could put the money. And my friend told me that he wanted to give money, but he wanted to give a dollar, just a dollar. And he
Uh-huh.
put the dollar into the
Just a
envelope,
just a dollar?
just a dollar, just a dollar. Because
Oh my
remember,
goodness.
if
Why
you
not
if you
two?
if you want to share $3, $50, 1 million, it depends on you because you are free to do it if you want to.
Of course.
But okay, but he put the money into the envelope, and the
Uh-huh.
people from staff returned to him
Uh-huh.
and gave him the envelope back. And the people from the staff told him, okay, please, we don't accept this kind of money, this quantity of money. And my friend
Wow.
was yeah, my friend was a little bit shocked, and he said, well, this is the money I want to share with you. And the people from the
Right.
staff said, okay, thank you, this is your envelope. So I am talking about that money and religion is a little bit complicated. It's a
For
complicated
sure.
problem
And
in
and that was
Mexico.
one and that was one of the points in the article as well, now that you bring it up too. I mean, we have to, it's just a sensitive issue that we have to be aware of. And uh, if we can just, because it's easy to lose sight of the fact that everyone's culture is different. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, and I don't want to hurt feelings, or I don't want to be rude,
Mhm.
but I need to say that sometimes religion is dangerous. Why? Because maybe some people think that they buy their happiness giving money. For example, in that church, they asked for 200 $200, something like that. Okay, they establish a special amount.
Right.
Every Sunday, people go there, and people need to give a special quantity of money. So
But I've never heard of that before.
you
I've never
haven't
heard of
heard?
a church. No, I've never heard of a church. Yeah, I've heard of some religions, which, whatever. I've heard people have to give 10% of their salary if they're in certain religions. I don't know if that's true because I'm not in those religions. I've heard of some crazy things like that, but I've never heard of churches telling you have to donate a specific type. That seems really unusual, but maybe I'm just naive. Is it a Catholic church that's asking that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
Really?
yeah, really, and of course, and I want to say that money is translated into cars, more
Right.
churches, more places, beautiful clothes. I mean, all the people that work there
Hmm.
in church, most of them have nice cars, nice clothes, nice etc. So money is translated into objects, into how do you say,
Yeah, into
uh,
commodities, into
into
material
commodities.
goods, right?
Exactly. And some people tend to buy a piece of heaven giving money. But
Right.
okay, now
Like like the Led Zeppelin song.
I'm sorry.
Like the Led Zeppelin song, Buying a Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. And if you ask me about giving money to children, for example, as a present, in Mexico it's common, but maybe close relatives, for example, my nephews, my cousins, my close family, it's usual to give money to them most of the
Mhm.
time, but it's not usual to give money, for example, to a neighbor in his or her birthday, because it's better to give just a present.
Right.
And I think it's practical. For me, it's very practical because sometimes you try to find something interesting for the person you love, and it results that the person didn't like or doesn't like the gift you gave him or her, and you say, "Oh my goodness, it's a little bit complicated to give something interesting for someone." Maybe sometimes it's difficult to select the right uh, thing, or the right
Yeah, the right gift. Yeah.
the right gift. And it's more practical to give money. For example, for children, it's more practical here in Mexico, no?
Right, right, right. Well, easier, maybe.
Easier.
A little
Yeah,
easier. Less thought involved.
yeah.
Well, these are definitely some of the issues that will come up, for sure, no doubt about it. Um, I wanted to ask, I wanted just to turn to business for a moment before we get into our activity. So, Javier, you're working. You're a businessman, aren't you, Javier?
Not really, but yeah.
Just say yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, 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 of course. So, the situation that Giancarlo is describing about giving money or not giving money, why maybe it's easier for children, people don't think so much. We're adults, we don't know what children like, but it might seem inappropriate to give to a neighbor, for example. Well, this happens in the workplace too. I'm just curious, if you were in the workplace, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
What could you do? Or let's say you're the boss or the manager. What could you do to avoid this problem? You know, where you don't want people to be judged by the amount that they give or something like that. So what do companies do to try to deal with that? Or do you think they don't do enough. I'm just curious from your experience. How does money relate to, I'm thinking about gifts right now, but it could be other situations too. So have you ever been in a job that has, for example,
Mm-hmm.
something like that to try to control how people give or to put limits on it or anything like that?
Limits to the workers, I mean, to the from the company to the workers, or
Well, about giving gifts, particularly like at Christmas time and things like that. Did you ever have a policy about that?
not really. I mean, since I've been working, they stop giving gifts to the employees, the companies. Yeah, I
What
mean,
about
since
employees to each other?
employers to each other,
Employees to each other.
employees
So
to each
is there
other.
any policy like that?
Not really. You don't normally give gifts to your co-workers or to your colleagues.
Really? Oh,
No, I
I'm
mean,
gonna
no.
go to.
Probably, I mean, you go out to grab a beer or to drink something in a pub, and you can
Ah.
invite them, but not you don't. I mean, not from me. I don't, and I haven't received any gift from a
Oh, they
colleague.
didn't give gifts to you, Javier. Oh, that's the problem.
No, really. No, I mean, no. If it's your anniversary, probably you go out and they invite you, or you invite them to to drink something, but not this like a present for you. I mean, it's not.
Does anyone know, this is a good English word for you, does anyone know about Secret Santa? Class, Secret Santa. You heard that before?
Secret Center.
Yeah.
It's for the Secret Services. Oh, Secret Santa. Ah, Secret Santa. Secret Santa. I don't know what is Secret.
It's not Secret Services.
Ah.
This is at Christmas time in a job, in a workplace, and to deal with the problem, like Giancarlo was talking about, of, and also not, yeah, like about the church saying that, oh, we don't accept $1 donations or whatever. Well, not like that, but to control the amount that you give, to make it more equal. At Christmas time, in many companies, you get a Secret Santa. You pull a name out of the hat. You are going to give a gift to that person, a Christmas gift, and everyone is limited to, say, $5 or $10, something like that. They put a limit on it. It's also called Pollyanna, I believe. Pollyanna, like this. Give me a second, I'll write it for you. So I'm just curious if anyone has had something like that in the workplace, because the idea is to make it more equal. You know what? I can't find the right spelling for this. Give me a second. You know what? I gotta look for the right spelling because I'm spelling it incorrectly. But anyway, Secret Santa. Has anyone been involved in something like that at work, or is that just an American and British thing? I'm not saying that you all celebrate Christmas, but controlling, the company says you cannot spend more than $5 because otherwise it would be unfair. And you can spend less, but you should spend around $5, and you get a Secret Santa. You're giving presents to one particular person, and you stay anonymous. You get a present, you give a present, and no one knows who gave what to whom. So that's something that people will sometimes do in companies to make it more equal. What do you think about that idea? Good idea? Bad idea?
I used to do this, but outside of the work, so with close friends and
Oh,
that's it.
really? You do
Yeah,
that with
yeah,
friends? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but not in a company.
Not in a company. Oh, I've seen it done in schools where I've worked. That's
Schools
why I
as well.
mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah, schools as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, oh, we keep losing people. Bye, Marcus. Class, last question, and we're going to try a little activity. What topics do you consider to be taboo in business situations? Is money a taboo subject? If not money, what else? So first of all, question one, is money taboo when you're with colleagues, clients, and customers? Is it a taboo subject in your culture? What do you think? Christian, think about your job. Is it
Oh,
taboo?
hmm. In Switzerland, it's not taboo, because we can discuss very frankly and very easy about your salary or everything,
Very openly. Very
Yeah,
open.
very openly. It's not a problem, no. But we are in the border with the France,
Right.
and the French people have more taboo with the money,
Is that because they earn less?
I don't know why. I don't know why. This is different culture. Because, for example, if you are working for, if you are official, in Switzerland,
Mhm.
you know exactly how many win your colleague,
Wait, hold on. You know exactly what your
Yeah,
colleagues earn.
earn
Yeah.
exactly. Because you have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and for example, if you have a grade 4, you have $100. If you have grade 5, you have $200 per month, and you know exactly. You don't have any difference. And
Right.
after, in a private society, is very different.
Not society, company.
In company, yeah, it's very different. But here in Switzerland, it's not taboo. But we cannot discuss for a salary every 5 minutes.
Right,
Okay.
right. But
Yeah.
it's not a problem if people talk about it. Well, because I
No.
say this, I'll tell you a story. I've been living in Europe for a long time. Every time I go back to the United States, someone tells me, "Stop talking about money. Don't mention it." I've heard this comment many times, and I'm not talking about anything unusual. For me, it's not an issue. So
Yeah.
I might, but it's nothing unusual. Like I might say something like, I might say, "Oh, well, that seems expensive." Some casual remark. I've been told more than once when I went back that I really ought not to say those things, which I find really strange because I'm American. But I've said, I've been told by friends, "Well, would you just get off the boat? You don't talk about money here." And I'm like, I really, first of all, I don't have a problem with it, but I understand what they're trying to say. Because I'm going back to New York. There's a lot of money floating around New York, and you're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to just live your lifestyle or whatever and not ever mention it. Because it's a very expensive place with very expensive things, very expensive rents, and it's kind of taboo to talk about, which is I don't know what you think. I think it's hypocritical because it's one of the most expensive cities in the world, and money seems to be kind of taboo. I find that very hypocritical. But anyway, it's good to know about it because if you're going to do business there, you should know that it's not really discussed. It's not really that open, which is interesting. Just have to acknowledge it. You don't have to agree with it. Um, what about another question? Uh, how would you react if someone asked you how much you earned? Would
Me?
you? Yeah, all of you. I'm curious. But go ahead, Christian. How
Yeah.
would you wouldn't mind, right?
Oh, yes, for me it's not a problem because I can say it is not a secret for me because we have all the same barems, in here, and for me it's not a secret.
Hmm. What
Because
about you, Roberto? Would you be offended if someone asked you that?
Depend of the person who asked me the question.
If it was Christian.
I suppose I'd say the enough amount of money to live.
Okay, that's good. Give a good answer. One that's not too specific. What about in Egypt, Ahmed? Is it taboo to ask people about their salaries?
Actually, first we have to differentiate between it is not a classified information, it is not a classified issue,
Right.
but it is a personal issue. It is not right to cascade or to announce our personal information, our personal issue. It
Right.
is just related to me and to my family. I can cascade and to discuss such issues with my wife, with my mother, with my brother, but it is not good to discuss such issues with another people because
Right.
it
Right.
is related only for me.
So it's it's
Uh,
considered personal. So
yes,
yeah.
it is personal, like many issues like the money. And if I have received a question from one of my colleagues, for example, about my salary, if the question came from man or a boy, I will say to him, you would like to participate or to get a part of it. And if I receive this question from one of my colleagues, woman or girl, I can say to her, if I married you, I will tell you about my salary, because it is just personal information.
Right. So again, it sounds taboo a little bit. Okay, so we've got some different takes on money in your personal life and money in a business situation. Let's try a little experiment. Oh wait, we gotta read about a concept first. Then we'll try our experiment. I want you to understand the concept of uncertainty avoidance. Now, it's something that came up in the article, but I want you to use this as a way to classify how cultures value money or financial situations, finance, like different ways of payment, and also cultural issues and taboos. So let's talk about this concept first, and probably we'll on Wednesday we'll go with our activity, because it's going to take probably the whole class. So I think we'll probably just finish on this part and we'll use it in the next class. But what you're going to do eventually is you're going to have to do a business transaction with someone from a particular culture, and you're going to have to adjust the way you speak to them. So you're going to have to adjust your English to the way the culture would be receptive. How much uncertainty avoidance maybe the culture has. So let's find out a little bit about it. Javier, could you read the first paragraph there under uncertainty avoidance?
Geert Hofstede, an intercultural expert from Netherlands, defines uncertainty avoidance as the extent to which members of a culture feel threatened by ambiguous or unknown situations. In his research, he found that Britain and the US had relatively low levels of uncertainty avoidance, and Switzerland, Germany, and Austria higher uncertainty and avoidance. Here are some of the features of cultures with low and high uncertainty avoidance, as described by Hofstede and his colleagues.
All right. And Giancarlo, do you think you could read the low uncertainty avoidance for us?
Yes. Low uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty is a normal feature of life, and each day is accepted as it comes. Fast acceptance of new products and technology, risky investments, few laws, most of a general character, or unwritten rules.
Okay, so think about that description for a moment. Think about how it applies to your culture in particular. We'll talk about it in a minute. Ahmed, do you think you could read high uncertainty avoidance for us?
Yes, okay. High uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty is continuous threat that must be fought. Hesitancy toward new products and technologies such as innovative payment methods, conservative investments, many prices low or unwritten rules.
Many precise.
Many precise, yeah. Many
precise laws, right. Okay, think about these two general tendencies of cultures, and then think about which one yours fits into. Okay, and let's see. And Roberto, could you read the last paragraph for us on the right side? Sorry.
Cultures with high uncertainty avoidance seek security. Maybe this is why people in Switzerland and Germany tend to have more insurance policies than people in the United Kingdom. The recent financial crisis has shown how the reluctance of Germans to speculate in volatile investment.
Volatile. Yeah.
Investment, such as hedge funds, saved the country from some of the disastrous effects experienced in the United States and Britain. The German experience of hyperinflation in the 1920s and currency reform after the Second World War may well have influenced the national psyche.
Psyche. This word is not pronounced the way it's written. We for some reason we say psyche. It's very unusual to pronounce the E at the end of a word, but here we do. Psyche.
Psyche, making people cautious about what they do with their money.
Okay. So, Christian, in your own words, what is uncertainty avoidance? In your own words, simple language.
When you move your money in...
Wait, that's not Christian. That's Roberto.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead. Christian, what would you say? If you had to explain it to a 5-year-old, how would you explain it?
I pass my turn.
You pass your turn. Oh, yeah. I'm not letting you pass.
Ah.
Not letting you pass. I want you to take this idea, which is explained in a kind of little bit confusing way, because it's given sort of lots of explanation. And I want you to try to simplify it in the easiest way you can, and then we'll see if we agree or disagree. So what's the simplest way you think you could define it?
But I don't follow you before, you know. This is a reason I need to read the text. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so go ahead. Which part? Look at the first paragraph again.
Yeah.
And think about the countries. Notice that the UK and USA have low uncertainty avoidance. Germany and Switzerland are supposed to have very high uncertainty avoidance. So what is this uncertainty avoidance? What is it exactly?
The avoidance?
Mm-hmm.
The avoidance is to avoid something, you know, and...
avoid what? What's the thing that people are afraid of?
Where? In Switzerland?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are they avoiding in this context? Not in general, I'm saying in this context. Not sure?
Not sure, no.
Class, help them out. What are people avoiding in this context, according to the suggestion here in the article? What would you say, class? Any of you?
Avoid risk to move.
Avoid risk. That's it. One word. Avoidance of risk.
Yeah.
That's it. So another way to say it, I guess, is high risk and low risk countries or cultures. But they're defining it in the opposite way. They're defining it as who wants to avoid risk and who doesn't. It's kind of a slightly different way of thinking about it. It's not who takes the most risks, but who avoids the most risks, because there's something historical behind their lack of confidence in risks. Giancarlo, do you think that Mexico or your culture in Mexico is an uncertainty avoidance culture? Or do you think it's a risk-taking culture?
No, some people, or most of the people, avoid risky actions.
Okay.
Because of the economical situation, because something that you may not know.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be precautious, John.
Cautious.
We need to be cautious, and people from Mexico are cautious about decisions. Because of the experience we have had in the past about the Mexican peso, and yeah, we are cautious about decisions.
Okay, and what's something that people do to be cautious? For example, are people afraid to put their money in banks?
Not exactly, but people, for example, people don't spend money in some seasons People, for example, save money most of the time.
Okay.
And what else can I say?
So,
Okay, people, for example, businessmen, business people, business women, businessmen. Sometimes they don't take a risk investing money, and they need to, for example, they investigate a lot about before putting the money into different business.
okay, okay. So the exact opposite of the United States, in other words. The mirror opposite. Everything is the reverse. Because everything you say is exactly the opposite of what I experienced growing up in, near New York and in Philadelphia where I was born. The exact opposite. People take risks. They don't investigate, generally. If they get a tip from someone, maybe not now after the financial crisis, but certainly before, people were really willing to go on a whim. So it sounds like a really opposite situation. So just to end class, I'd like you all to categorize your culture or your country the way Giancarlo did. So Christian, what would you say? Do you agree with the article that Switzerland is a high uncertainty avoidance culture?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. It depends because now everything is changing every week, every month now because the risk here, we don't like the risk. We don't like the risk. We like the safe life.
So the article is correct then, because it says.
Yes, it's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's correct. Yes, we don't like the risk. But now it's changing with all the political, in the world, with the economy in the world, and maybe the next year, we have a lot of things. It's changing,
So everyone has a savings account in Switzerland, yeah?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, maybe, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That would be a sign that maybe, well, it depends on how much avoidance people, because I know people in the States who don't even trust to put their money in banks. They put their money in their mattress, in their bed, stuff it in the pillow.
Yeah.
True story. Okay, and Javier, Spain is a country where there was a lot of risk in the past, right? What about today?
I think that today they are more people are more cautious about investments and about buying things without thinking, no?
Mm-hmm. So what was credit a problem? I mean, personal credit, was that an issue in the past?
That was an issue, yeah. I mean, without any kind of control. So basically, and I mean, the problem was the banks, but the problem I think is the society as well, no?
Right.
That they invest without thinking about the future, and finally they cannot pay the investment, no?
They can't pay the payments at
The
least.
payments, yeah.
Yeah, but was that the fault of consumers, or was that the fault of the banks who made this money available? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, sure, yeah. I think both, no? Because I mean, the banks for sure, but they have to control everything. But the consumers, I mean, if you have a salary of 1,000 per month, you cannot buy a house of 1 million, no? I mean, it's like you have to be aware of the problems that you can.
But think about it this way: if you grew up in generation after generation, whoops, what happened to my camera? If you grew up in generation after generation that didn't have money, suddenly neoliberalism comes to Spain, and there's liquid money. No one in your family has any experience of investing money, and the bank makes this money available. Is it really your fault if you don't fully understand the implications? Because it seems to me that if the government cared, they would have educated the population first. You know, I'm only saying that because I think about the United States when I was a kid, and the same thing happened 20, 30 years before, and then it came to Europe, it seems to me. And when I think of Spain and Portugal, I think, like the States, the money became available. But you had people that lived under a dictatorship for a long time, and they didn't necessarily have the education to understand the implications.
Yeah,
What do
no,
you think?
yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, no. I mean, you can find cases of each, I mean, different cases. There are people who knows that they can do it, and people who doesn't, as you said, that they don't have the education about this. Yeah, but
Because they don't. If your parents didn't have the experience and your grandparents didn't, and then it was another century where everything was different, that's my question. Because in the States, they have blamed the banks for deliberately misleading people who just didn't have the background to know what they were doing. No one has really gone to jail that I know of, but that's one thing that they say. Well, I think we're going to have to leave it here for the moment, but let's do this. For those of you who did not have a chance to read the article, why don't you read it using the link that I gave you? And on Wednesday, we're going to use that background information from the article to do an activity where you're going to do a financial transaction with someone from another culture. In fact, you're going to be given a kind of Secret Santa situation where you have to both give a gift and pitch an idea. So I'm going to be giving you different startup ideas. You're going to have a business meeting with someone from a different culture. One person will be the venture capital person. The other person will be the startup person. And we're going to randomly assign you cultures. So if you've read the article, you'll know more or less if you're a high or low avoidance culture, and you'll know how to respond. If you're the person with the idea, you're going to have to change the way you speak. You change your English to be more upfront or maybe more general. You're going to have to adjust how you speak about the financial issue and how you pitch your idea. Okay? So remember, the link to this is on the very top of the chat window, but I'll give it to you again. There you go. And I would suggest that you read this between now and Wednesday. On Wednesday at 1 GMT, just like today, we're going to give it a try using the background that the article provides. If there's any questions, send me a message and I'll be sure to answer them. Or we can briefly discuss the article in the first 5 minutes of class. Okay? Are we good?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 to 2 GMT for speaking skills and then fluency fundamentals. Bye for today, everyone.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Have a great day. Thank you, John.